Okay, we will call the annual meeting of the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments to order. And our first action item is, well, let's go ahead. Should we go ahead and go around and introduce everybody now? So first, we wanted to welcome Mayor Natalie Johnson of Manitou Springs.
Right, I'm here.
Awesome.
And this is my first PPACG meeting, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you. I've always been really impressed by what you do here, and it's great to be a part of it. So thank you.
Wonderful. It's good to have you. And I see you found your spot on Mayor's Row. So that's, you know. Okay, I'm Holly Williams. I am County Commissioner from El Paso County and also Chairman of the Board of Directors.
Good morning. I'm Kelly Case, Mayor of the City of Woodland Park, and I am the treasurer of the Board of Directors. So current treasurer for a few more minutes.
Welcome. Good morning. Happy 2026. Andy Gunning, Executive Director with the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments.
Dave Donaldson, Colorado Springs City Council.
Todd Dixon, Mayor, Greenmount Falls.
Sharon Thompson, Mayor Fountain.
Mitch LaKine, Mayor of Monument.
Good morning, Bill Wysong, County Commissioner, District 3.
Good morning, everyone. I'm new to this as well. My name is J.R. Gatlin. I'm a council member up in Cripple Creek representing Annie Durham.
Corey Applegate, County Commissioner, District 4.
Jeff Mosier, I'm also out of Cripple Creek. I'm the Special Projects Director, and I appreciate JR stepped up. He's brand new, just got elected, so he's stepped up to help fill in when Annie can't be here. And then I will also fill in when JR or Andy can't be here. So, and I do want to thank everybody that came to the governor's press conference yesterday at Garden of the Gods Club. I appreciate you guys showing up and showing support for recreation and conservation in our area from PPORA. Thanks.
Jeff Bond, representing Peterson, Schriever, and Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Station.
Cheryl Richards, I'm the office manager for PPACG.
Eric Stone, Teller County Commissioner and First Vice Chair of PPACG.
Okay, and we have a couple of elected officials online. Brandy Williams is a voting member from the city of Colorado Springs. Go ahead, Brandy.
Good morning, and thank you, Holly. Yes, Brandy Williams, Colorado Springs City Council. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem William Shaw from Rama. And then
good morning, everyone.
Good morning. We also have Laura Cronick, City Councilman from Monument. She is she's here to keep track of what's going on. Part of the RAC, yes. And so those are our elected officials. We will come back to that because we need to run our annual meeting. So the first item is election of 2026 officers for Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments Board of Directors. We have the nominating committee put forth a slate of me as chair, Eric Stone as vice chair, Brandy Williams, City Councilwoman as second vice chair, treasurer, Mayor Dixon, and secretary, Mayor Thompson. All right. Do I have a motion to approve this slate of officers?
Mitch LaKine, Mayor of Monument. I make a motion to approve the slate of officers.
Bill Wysong, County Commissioner, I second.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We appreciate it. And so, thank you. That's very nice. Okay, item number B, Jared.
Good morning, Board of Directors, Jared Verner with PPACG. This next item is just our annual open meetings and compliance document. If we can go to the next slide. This is the same as last year, is just saying that we will post our open meetings notices on our website at ppacg.org, as well as physically at the bulletin boards at both sides of our building, 14 South Chestnut Street, which is where most people come in, but also 15 South 7th Street on the upper side of the building. So those would be the two places that we'd be posting open meetings. And then as part of this, designated the custodian of the minutes, and that has been me in the past. If you are okay with that, we can continue with all of that, but open to any questions or motion.
Okay, are there any questions? All right, so we need a motion for the open records posting. Go ahead, Sheriff.
Move to approve.
Meredith, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. That passes. Okay, item C, appointment of board members to committees, commissions, and boards. You got this
Alrighty,
one,
so,
Jared?
yep, I'll at least help facilitate. But PPACG has appointments or has seats on various statewide boards or districts or those kinds of things. And so this is essentially just outlining who we would like to represent PPACG on these different boards. The first one is the Statewide Transportation Advisory Committee. And if we can go to the next page just to see the current lineup. Right now, our current primary rep is Commissioner Williams, but I've also listed out here the current lineup we have, striking out those who are no longer members of the board. We are allowed to designate as many alternates as we would choose to, and so that's why we do have quite a few alternates. We don't have to have any alternates. We can have everyone be alternates. It's up to you. Probably the biggest benefit to being an alternate is that you are on meeting notices, so you get to see those agendas. Voting representative. Happy to answer any questions. The only of this committee is that there's a little because PCG is split up between Central, which also has a voting seat, and this person to be within the MPO. If the person has jurisdiction in both, I'll pick names because that's an example. County is both member of Pikes and Central Front Range. It just says that if she were on Pikes Peak MPO, she'd be on the voting list for TPR. Commissioner Stone would be another. You might be the only one. Yourself.
I don't think my committee represents any of the.
TPR? No. Commissioner, yeah.
I think Commissioner Stone has. I would like to serve, but by the way, go ahead, Commissioner Stone. Who wants to run against me?
Nice try, but that's not it. No, actually, I need to pull my name. It was days ago. First alternate now for Central York, and as you serving that for both, so this list and I'll get updated through range on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I am vice stack at the moment, so I would like to primary. Okay, now that I need this as well because I will no longer like January. So council would like to remain in it. John's been really in the meetings. We've got individuals who start training for coming back and annoying you. Which I'm willing.
I would also just like to say that I will be term limited. 16th will be my last. My name on this for the group. Probably just need to take me.
Okay. So I will primary. Would you still like to be the first alternate?
You know, unless there's someone else
would like, I've had attending the meetings, attending very many of them. I used to be at each one, or mine typically. But to kind of chomping at the bit, move up, I'm happy. Let them do that. I'll stay and try to back to attending more often.
Nice thing is we do two meetings, or in person, May and April. Okay,
To a third.
and if you're moving up, do we want, well, Davis on a second. Andy fourth. Mitch, do you still want to be on the list?
Given this is my term and I have not yet whatever you would like towards the bottom.
Okay. Fifth, so primary, first, Steve, second is John. Aaron, Andy, and fifth is Mitch. How is that for us? We have a motion on that list.
If anybody else does want to be at the bottom of the dining room, now's your chance.
The reason, obviously, an alternative is, or never going to be going to the meeting and voting PPACG, but this is, if you want to stay informed of issues coming off stack, that the primary designee receives, so that you can always, and that's the primary reason to be at the bottom of the list, is to get that packet and understand what's going on at the state level.
Corey?
Take a 6 alternate position.
Applegate will be six.
I'll do the same, Mary Johnson.
Mary
Evans, sure.
Okay. All right, if that is it, I have a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the list modified.
Thank you. All
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, by the way, Mr. Announced because we're the only. So. Right. Next one, Jared.
Going, just keeping transit representative, so part of our federal transit administration. One thing we have designated Colorado Springs and Fountain as the primary alternate, and these two individuals has switched. Not saying it, that's just how we've been doing it. Need the age of outlets.
No, this here.
2025 primary was Brandy Williams, the first alternate with Fountain. Based on typically that was, so let's see, up to you to just.
I called Brad
And you get
to stay on and we just do it. And she's like, fine.
the thing about this is, in order to get dollars for have some people on it.
It's only a municipality. So that's why Fountain.
Oh, for the Sharon Thompson be the president, will be the second. Okay. Aye. Opposed. The next,
Passenger rail district. So this one is probably the ones just because is but PCD does have one voting member, and this is just have the individual listed all this year publishing stuff because it is appointed by an MPO. Must have been an appointed board of directors authority. And must represent a member local government authority that is wholly or partly district. So that for our region, the MPO minus, and they have to be a resident of that district. Can be a current member, can be a past member, have been a member of the board. Our is Mayor LaKind, who he's shaking his head, and he is too. I will say that the Front Range Passenger will be quite active this up year. I want to dive in the initiative that look at service plans and that kind of
looking at a lot of things. I think that they'll be looking at this year. Getting ballot, or those that are impacted by the two proposals that you're throughout to the rail. Be very busy. When you ask the email list, they don't necessarily. So once you get on, forever be getting updates. I am seeing updates on, in fact, because they have asked like a station, and so we are. So we have to be quickly here. So we're having some meetings on that, but representative of it's just two.
in it from a monthly plus from committee.
They have three. Finance. But yes, they that somebody will also be in one of those.
Okay. No, the commissioner applicated this. I all the praise went down. And that's right in this.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for most sort of like a. So I think the some retreats like a retreat. They're off. You can see the stadium from the parking lot. So if you do go up, you'll building. Yes. Try to move for Corey up, our representative on. Second.
okay. All
Aye.
aye. Oh. And I have to excuse Commissioner here because he's got another one for the airports.
He's so busy as she's
Uh-huh.
talking, but can we make the agenda of getting a monthly
Yes.
representative? Because I just think that's,
Yeah, and if you know Mitch, if you ask, if you know minutes or just on their lips.
I think. Also, I can find out, coordinate with you or something.
Okay, and then what's our next one?
One and final one of this map, Colorado. And so I think most of you, Very Smart Colorado, PPACG, as part of that, the board of directors, its board of directors. Right now, those three members are Commissioner Stone, Mayor Durham. You know that are entertaining nominations or other limited number of alternates on it.
I know this is quarterly, right? Okay, so Commissioner Stone is
And Mayor willing to.
okay.
Yep. So
Okay.
she wanted.
One,
Can I have my name taken off?
yes.
Thank you. Someone needs to to sit in for me.
We'd
It's
love to
pretty
have
good.
Mayor Case do it.
volunteering. I think it might be nice to kind of describe what the purpose of the board is a little bit more. So if someone's interested in it, they might, kind of.
Sure. So, DriveSmart Colorado, it's focused on the traffic education component of traffic safety. The other piece is being engineering, emergency response, and what's the fourth E? Help me out. Enforcement. Thank you. So DriveSmart Colorado is heavily focused on the education component of that. This board is an oversight policy-driven board and meets only quarterly. If you know John Henry, he's been the president of DriveSmart Colorado for decades. He's actually going to be retiring and enjoying some well-earned retirement. And so the board will be selecting a new leadership with that. But right now the board is composed of the 3 members from PPACG, John Henry. We have law enforcement officials, Sheriff Roybal, Chief Vasquez from CSPD, Chief Christiani, I got that right, from Fountain, as well as your deputy manager as well, Todd Evans. Thank you. They're whispering behind me because it saved me. And so we have up to 12 members who can be a part of the and adults. So we can have up to 12 members who can be on this DriveSmart Colorado board, 3 of them coming from PPACG specifically. It is primarily an overarching thing. We do have one person on staff, Trish Trentaya-Quinta. She is our regional traffic safety champion. She's kind of that boots on the ground person who's going into schools, going to community events. As Jeff Mosier mentioned, piloting a driver education courses up in Teller County to actually bring those into Teller County so they don't have to come down to Colorado Springs, and really doing the kind of that legwork to really get things moving across the region. But that's a high level view of DriveSmart Colorado. The board kind of sitting at that policy level over 30,000 foot view of DriveSmart.
What day do they meet?
Typically on Fridays. Friday mornings, like the last one was actually after our board workshop in December. So it's usually the 2nd or 3rd Friday of the month, but it fluctuates.
Well, you can put me on it for a year since I've had a rollover on Saturday and just a real tough loss in Black Forest last 2 years ago. So you can put me on that for a year. And then maybe I'll get some DriveSmart signs on Hodgen Road, which I'm going to drive smartly on Friday with a constituent. So, all right. So we'll have a motion for those three people.
Motion to approve Eric Stone, Holly Williams, and Annie Durham for the DriveSmart Colorado.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Can I just get who made the motion for Front Range?
Mitch?
Okay.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, and a quick question back on the DriveSmart composition and focus. We have a couple of folks from the military community online. Are we also focusing on trying to get more military engagement?
We have been, and we've been, last year we made good strides in getting, like I said, kind of the boots in the ground individuals from both Peterson Space Force Base as well as Fort Carson. And they've been attending, Fort Carson especially very active, and there's a separate group, the Pikes Peak DUI Task Force, which Sheriff's Office manages, but they meet here, and they've been very engaged in addressing that particular issue in our region.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to item D, because we want to get to our military reports in our main agenda. What's letter D?
Letter D is appointment of ex officio members to the board of directors. So 2024, we changed the bylaws, kind of clarifying the non-voting component because it was.
I move. So moved, Dave
Okay.
Donaldson.
Mayor Dixon, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second by Mayor Dixon. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Public comments? Public comments can be made before or during the meeting. Public comments during the meeting are limited to 3 minutes and can be done at the meeting location or remotely by using the posted Microsoft Teams link. Individuals are encouraged to notify the meeting organizer at ppacg@ppacg.org before the start of the meeting with the agenda item they'd like to comment on. Public comments can be submitted before the meeting via email to ppacg@ppacg.org for distribution to the committee members. Is there anyone in the room who would like to provide public comments? Okay, and is there anyone online, Jared?
Madam Chair, I'll just ask anyone who's online to just use the raise hand function to let us know. We did not receive any advanced requests for public comment though.
Okay,
And I see no hands going up on.
all right. Seeing no one online, it doesn't appear we have any public comments. I will welcome City Councilman Roland Rainey to the meeting. Thank you for attending. Okay, letter B, the military installation reports. Let's go with Joe Whiteka first. And he is with Fort Carson, if I'm right.
I am. Hey, good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Hey, it's great to be back with you, even here on the phone here. But as always, appreciate the cooperation. I know many of you, some of you I don't. I was here since 2008 working things at Fort Carson. So coming on almost 2 decades of partnership. So a couple things I just share with the group. Our alignment is shifting, as you probably read in the paper. So as the Army has changed some of its alignment of forces, we are end up supporting MCOM Pacific, which will be U.S. Army Pacific. So a little bit of an odd marriage there, but we're going to be reporting to Honolulu, and our forces are going to be working actions in the Pacific. So what's that mean for the body here? Probably not a lot. Probably pretty transparent to folks that we work with on this call. But you will see more of that in the news, and that's definitely the direction that Fort Carson is being pushed. So, just thought I'd share that. We're also probably going to assume some responsibility down at the former Pueblo Chemical Depot as they work with the Pueblo Plex to draw down that footprint. So that's been added to our portfolio. So you might see some of that in the news as well. And finally, I just finish up with we sure appreciate all the partnerships through the years, mutual aid for fire, law enforcement partnership. I know there's a lot of actions that go on there between our teams, traffic actions that we've worked through the years. And I know at one time or another, we've probably worked with almost every entity in this meeting on one action or another. And we sure see that as a plus for Fort Carson. And I just end with extending an invitation. If you haven't been on Fort Carson recently, or you have business you want to discuss with us, you can always reach out to me. I'm the Deputy Garrison Commander and Senior Civilian on Fort Carson, and we making sure that we can make sure you get on post and come talk to us or show you what we're doing. We're always happy to show both our victories and challenges and the things we need help with. We're not hesitant to reach out to folks on this call when we need help. So we'll continue to do that. And thanks for giving me a couple minutes to talk about that. So.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. Are there any questions? Okay. We appreciate you being here. Next, we'll go to my favorite base, the Air Force Academy, because it's in my district, Colonel Dave Herndon.
Good morning from the Academy, your Academy, and we're excited to be back with you all in the new year. We're thrilled to announce that the Pikes Peak Sentinel Landscape application is being submitted tomorrow. For us, the Academy, it's more than just a designation. It's going to be an opportunity to really invest in our shared future. What does this mean to you? If we are designated a Sentinel Landscape, it's going to unlock new federal and state grant opportunities that none of our installations in the Front Range kind of cluster can access alone. It's going to allow us to pull some resources together and pull expertise from federal, state, local, and nonprofit sectors, so we can more effectively tackle some of the complex challenges that's before us. So this can be truly a win-win for all of our partners across the Front Range, and if designated, we'll be sure to provide an update to the board soonest. We talked a little bit about the Front Range passenger rail dynamics. I'll shift gears a bit. We've established kind of regular meetings with the Front Range passenger rail team as they map out the corridor over the next few years. The bottom line for us is that a portion of the planned rail traverses our academy grounds, and so we are collaborating early and often to essentially communicate some of our safety, security, and land use concerns. So we'll continue that effort going forward. I've talked about this a lot, the fire flood TTX, and we're very grateful for PPACG kind of co-facilitating that. We're making some tangible steps forward. This February, we're going to increase some fire mitigation work on our southern boundary. And then thanks to a REPI grant to the Forest Service, which you may have read about in the news this morning, we're going to continue some of that work on our western border later this summer. We'll continue exercises, and we really will appreciate your participation going forward. And then we are dusting off some of our plans to include evacuation plans, communication plans, and I'm sure we will benefit from your expertise as we finalize those. Two more updates. Visitor Center, if you're on I-25 and you're driving by and you see the Visitor Center that's being erected, we have great news. The Colorado Economic Development Commission approved that for us to open the Visitor Center on May 26th. We're going to have it ready by May 15th. But the new gateway will be a landmark attraction for the entire region, and we're proud to partner in bringing this vision kind of to life. And then the last piece in the news, quite often, our chapel restoration project. It's obviously an iconic national historic landmark, and we've hosted numerous senior leaders. We're going to have other senior leaders here this week from Headquarters Air Force to kind of put eyes on. A key part of this effort is a public-facing messaging campaign to keep everybody informed on the progress that's being made. You may have seen an article on our Air Force sites, which we can get out to the body to understand some of the activities that are underway. And then we're going to be opening up the box that the chapel is kind of within now for tours to cadets and individuals across the local community soon, so we can understand kind of where we're going as senior leaders across the Department of War look to accelerate on that project. Pending any questions, concerns from the body, that is the update from the Academy. And as mentioned by Fort Carson, if you all want to meet or have additional conversations about some of the things that are happening here on our end, we are open. So thank you out here from the Academy.
Yes, and my only comment would be I hope you would open up to the senior cadets first, so they have a chance to go in before they graduate in May, because I know that that's been hard on them. So thank you. We appreciate it. Any other questions? Okay, and now we'll go to Jeff Bond, Space Force, Delta, Peterson and Schriever, right?
Peterson, Schriever, Cheyenne Mountain. It's Space Base Delta 1 and Space Base Delta 41.
Awesome.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning and Happy New Year to the Board of Directors. Pleased to be able to give you a couple of brief updates from Peterson, Schriever, and Cheyenne Mountain. The Civic Leader DBIDS cards are out for delivery for Peterson Space Force Base Access. If you're on the list, you should be receiving your cards either in person or through the mail within the next 7 days. If you don't receive your cards by January 26th, please reach out to me and I will figure it all out. The Powers Airport Interchange Project and the Peterson Northgate Roundabout Project continue as scheduled. So far, impact to the installation is manageable. The Space Operations Installation Compatibility Use Zone Study Project continues at Schriever. We expect increased communication on the information gathering from the contractor now that the holiday season's behind us. So this next couple of months is going to be about the contractor gathering information from various stakeholders. And finally, a couple of personnel changes. Colonel Fernando Ruiz is our new deputy commander for Space Base Delta One at Peterson Space Force Base. Some of you may be engaging with him in local activities that Colonel Clock is not present for. Also, Miss Melissa Porter is the new director of staff for Schriever Space Base Delta 41. She's coming to us from the Air Force Academy. We've been without a director of staff for quite some time, and you will be seeing her at various functions as well. Pending any questions, that's all I have to brief.
So did you say civic leader passes?
Civic leader DBIDS card. So people who do not have access to Peterson, but do have a need to access Peterson, we give a special 1-year access pass. And if you've got a military credentials or in one DoD fashion or another, you don't need one because you already have access to the installation. But if you do have a need, please contact me and we can work through the details. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? All right. We want to thank all of our military installations, by the way. I love Space Base Delta 2. My father was, my father came through Camp Carson. So, and I have some pictures of him doing that too. So I love Fort Carson as well. Okay, we are on to the next item, which is, I believe, item C.
Yes, Madam Chair, and I'll tee this up and then I'm going to hand it off to Trent Thompson, who's with us from the Economic Development Administration within the Department of Commerce. Really appreciate Trent taking a few minutes to brief the board on all the great stuff that they work on at EDA. They are fantastic, visionary, collaborative partners. We've been working with Trent over the past couple of years as we developed our SEDS plan, the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, and they're just one of the best, maybe the best federal agency that we actually have the pleasure of working with on a regular basis. So thank you, Trent, for coming, and I will pass it on to you now. Can't
So-
hear you.
I was about to say, Trent, I can see your lips moving. I can see you're unmuted, but still nothing. I saw you say something, but couldn't
Yeah.
hear. There you go. We got you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Andy. Those were kind words. And just give a quick intro. My job at the Economic Development Administration, which is part of the U.S. Department of Commerce, is to work with Colorado communities prior to submitting an application for an EDA economic development grant. So it's my job. Taxes are being used to be able to engage with Pikes Peak Area Council of Government and all throughout the state. And just as a background note, I worked for NORAD U.S. Northern Command for 7 years in what was the interagency directorate. So I know Colorado Springs well. I know the area well. I just want to give a couple of updates, short term and longer term. One is, at least when it comes to the Department of Commerce, it looks like we're on and fingers crossed, a glide path to appropriations. The House passed appropriations, I think, earlier this week. And the Senate looks like it'll be taking it up hopefully in the next week or so. We have until the 30th before the continuing resolution ends, but that's good news. And right now, at least it looks like EDA's budget is going to be comparable to what it has been in the past. And that's also good news. We have an ongoing program that Congress passed a year ago last month called the Disaster Supplemental. And that was for all federally declared disasters in 24 and 23. The unique thing about this disaster supplemental is that, one, it was $1.5 billion, which is roughly 3 times what EDA's normal average budget is. And 2, El Paso County and Teller County are eligible based on the floods from 2023. And I know there's a number of applications that are being worked right now, especially the big application, which is an opportunity for $20 to $50 million grant called in what's called the Industry Transformation pathway. And my understanding is the region is putting together an application for one of those major $20 to $50 million grants. And then the other thing that's coming up in the next, I think, a couple weeks, but it could be a couple months, is the Build to Scale competition, which is our crown jewel for business incubation, business acceleration. So looking at like the works of Exponential Impact, which has won awards before, and other business incubators in the region. That's a competition that will be announced soon, and just so that the board is aware. And it's going to include both funding from last year, where we didn't make awards, as well as this year's funding. So there'll be twice the funding available for this competition once it is announced. And a longer term outlook, just wanted to note a couple of things. One is that, as Andy had mentioned, this is the first time that the entire state of Colorado has what's called comprehensive economic development strategies that cover the entire state. And that includes Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments region. But one of the traditional reasons why Pikes Peak Area Council of Government hadn't had a SEDS before is because most of the 3 counties were not distressed. And when we were reauthorized a year ago last month, Congress said we want to have other metrics for defining distress beyond what we currently have. And I won't get into the details, but what I will say is I think in the coming year, those metrics are going to be introduced in our programs, and it may allow for, we'll have to find out, other areas of the region to be eligible that weren't eligible in the past. And then finally, one area that, at least if passes prologue, the communities should be looking into right now, and the governor will be working with the U.S. Treasury Department to actually make the designations, but opportunity zones will be coming back. And if you're unfamiliar with opportunity zones, they were originated in the 2017 tax bill. And what they allowed for was tax incentives for investment in specific areas. And there's going to be a second round of opportunity zones and designations that likely won't be finalized until 2027. But during the first round, EDA used those opportunity zone areas as perfectly eligible areas to partner with us. And that was why we were able to partner in 2021, I believe, with UCCS to renovate and build out the cybersecurity center training facility. Is a perfect example of an opportunity zone project. And so we're looking forward to being able to see what happens when the new opportunity zones come out, and if there's other opportunities to partner. And with that, I'll hand it back over, and I am always available for meetings with anyone in any of the communities to talk about economic development.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, Mayor Dixon, Green Mountain Falls. I'm curious if where we go to look for like the application information, and if there's no NOFOs or anything like that associated with it. Because of course El Paso and Teller were part of that disaster in 23, and there were some things that, at least up in my area, we had to correct in order to get people to their homes, and that made us ineligible then for certain FEMA funds. And so I'm kind of curious where we actually go to get information on some.
There's 2 ways to do it. You can reach out to me directly, and I can work with you and your team, sir, to look at what is available. But you are eligible for the disaster supplemental. And while there's a deadline for this industry transformation, which is a massive, grant for early March, the other ways that you can apply, there is no deadline. It's just first come, first serve. So I'll be happy to connect with you if I can give you my information, or Andy can give it to you, as well as our website is where you get all the official information, eda.gov. But I'm happy to meet anytime.
Okay, thanks. I'll get your information for Andy.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a great opportunity, especially for some of our smaller towns. Okay, thank you, Trent. We greatly appreciate you coming. Okay. Next is our consent items. And these items will be acted upon as a whole unless they're called up for discussion. So do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Mayor Dixon, I'll move to approve the consent.
Mayor LaKine, second.
Okay, are there any questions? Go ahead.
Is it appropriate for me to vote on the minutes since I was not in attendance on the 10th? I read them. I'm aware.
She can vote, but she does not need to be in attendance.
Okay.
No prohibition.
You can vote, but you do not need to be
Okay.
in attendance.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Next item is our legislative update. Jared Berner. We are what, 9 minutes away from terror?
I'll let Ed and Jen speak to that, but since yes, the clock is running, I'm going to go ahead and start with the stateside. We have both Ed and Jen on. I think they've probably flipped a coin, and so whoever wants to go first.
Thank you, Jared. Appreciate it. Good to see everyone. And yes, in 9 minutes, nobody's land, liberty, or property are safe. So we, today's the first day of the legislative session. It'll start here very soon. It's kind of like being back to school. You know, everyone is in a good mood, very cordial, very happy to be back. Families are here, etc. So it's a good day for a lot of folks. I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of just the makeup of the legislature, some things that are underplaying what the themes of the session will be, as well as potentially some behaviors that we might see. I hand it off to Ed to talk a little bit about the budget, because that's going to be probably the biggest challenge that we have this legislative session. So as a reminder, the Democrats still hold the majorities, close to a supermajority in both chambers, and then Governor Polis is still in office. It is his last year. We will have 6 new members of the legislature. I believe at least 2 are members of the Pikes Peak area, and we did have the pleasure of meeting 2 of those individuals during our legislative breakfast. As I mentioned, with it being Governor Polis's last year in office, 2026 is going to be a very big election year. We've got every statewide race up for election. We have all of the U.S. House of Representatives. We have a U.S. Senate race up, not to mention, of course, all of the races here at the state level. Every House of Representatives is up for election down here, and then about a half or so of the state Senate is up for election. A lot of legislators are running for those seats, so that's going to make an interesting kind of dynamic down here with legislators interacting with each other, and probably a lot of political grandstanding will happen. So we also have a lot of ballot measures so far that are being proposed for the ballot in 26. Potentially already one that was recently announced to try to push legislation forward rather than having that issue go to the ballot. There could be more of those as some of those ballot initiatives flush out. There is now going to be more of a conflict in the Democratic Party. Over the past several sessions, we've seen more of conflict in the Republican Party, mainly in the House. Now we're going to see that really play out this year on the Democratic side between the progressives and the moderates. There was a little bit of there will be an ethics investigation into a few members on the Democratic side from an event that happened in the fall of 2025. That is going to play into some of the behavior of the Democrats, whether that's not voting for their colleagues' bills, running candidates for primaries against them, that kind of thing. So we're going to see how the Democrats interact with each other this year. The Republicans, there is new leadership in both the House and the Senate, so there could be new Republican priorities that we will see in both chambers as well too this year. Big issues, mainly the budget. I'm going to have Ed talk about the budget. There's so many things that are playing into the budget and proposals being put out there because of the budget deficit we're facing. But we do expect to see a lot of housing, land use bills, potentially some environmental bills as well too this session. Again, with it being Governor Polis's last year and some legislators last year, I imagine we're going to see them try to go out with a bang and introduce some big policy proposals. So with that, I will hand it over to my colleague, Ed.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning, everybody. Yes, the budget this year is going to be very tough. The state is dealing with a budget deficit for the current fiscal year as well as a budget deficit for the next fiscal year. The budget deficits are due to a combination of issues and that have all kind of collided at once. Among the ways to reduce the budget deficit, Governor Polis has submitted a number of reductions to the increase in the state's Medicaid programs. And these are causing a lot of angst by many of the advocacy groups. But according to the governor's office, the growth in Medicaid will crowd out all other state programs if it's not constrained. So that issue is on the table. The governor also has suggested and recommended the privatization of Pinnacle, the state's workers' compensation authority of last resort. According to the governor's budget requests, the conversion of Pinnacle to a private entity would net the state $400 million in one-time dollars. This would help bridge the state's budget for another year. This proposal hasn't been met with much support at this time. Having said that, just this week, an advocacy organization, Colorado Succeeds, has submitted a ballot measure which would privatize Pinnacle. So maybe that's in an attempt to get the legislature to move this along. We shall see. The budget decisions for next year will be made mostly in February and March, so we will keep the Pikes Peak Council of Government staff involved in all those discussions. I think that concludes our formal update at this point. By the end of this week, we'll have 200 bills introduced. We will start sending legislative reports down, and we're in full swing.
Okay, are there any questions? Go ahead, Eric.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the subject of Pinnacle and the potential dissolving of Pinnacle, that's been linked to potentially, if they get the funding from that, to being able to continue the veterans and what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah,
The homestead.
yeah, the homestead exemption. But then I heard something yesterday that might actually go to a ballot referral rather than legislative. Are you hearing anything on that? Because obviously it is tied to potentially to funding for that homestead exemption.
Yes, thank you. That's an excellent question. The governor's proposal would convert Pinnacle to a private entity. The state would get $400 million, and part of that would be used to fund the senior and veterans homestead exemption. Because right now, there is no source of funding for that for fiscal year 26-27. The proposal by the advocacy organization to have this go to the ballot does not include that money going to Pinnacle. Now, the ballot measure would be tough because that wouldn't be passed until November anyway. So we're kind of stuck with that. There's a timing issue. But I know the senior and veterans homestead exemption, keeping that funded and on track, it costs about $200 million. Keeping that funded is a priority for lots of legislators. They don't want to be the ones to let that one slip, not even for 1 year.
Thank you.
Okay, and we do have our legislative committee, which will meet again. Go ahead.
Can I just ask one follow-up question?
Absolutely.
And perhaps even Eric can answer it. I'm not familiar with Pinnacle. What is that?
You want to do that, Ed, or you want me to do it?
Sure. Yeah, Pinnacle is the state authorized and state entity that was founded 100 years ago as the workers' compensation insurer of last resort. So they can't turn anyone away who needs workers' compensation. They have been very successful. They've done a great job. They had about 60% of the market share for all workers' compensation within Colorado. In the last few years, their market share has been inching downwards just a bit because other workers' compensation agencies are able to offer workers' compensation in other states. Pinnacle is limited to offering just in Colorado. So Pinnacle would like to become privatized, spun off from the state, so they could offer workers' compensation here and in other states as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, seems like a win-win situation to me, but unless you have small business, and then it's not, so.
Yeah, Pinnacle is a lifesaver for me, but not small businesses. insurance companies consider you to be a high risk factor, even though you're necessarily not. It's been a godsend for many people. We would have ever had workman's comp. We couldn't have afforded employees and private insurance that would make it.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
really important.
And if I may, Madam Chair, the feedback I'm getting from small business owners in my county is that they are concerned that essentially this $400 million is part of a pool that they already helped build through all of their previous premiums. And that if the state basically takes that, which is what essentially would happen, it's first off, it's one-time money. And they seem, they're grabbing all the one-time money they can get to prop up, but they're not solving the problem. That's the problem, is they're going after other people's money, other revenue, without ever solving the problem. And that's why every time we turn around, well, there's a $1.2 billion deficit. Oh, wow, there's a $1.2 billion deficit. There's a theme on the amount of the deficit every year, and it's because they've kicked the can and fixed it one time by adjusting revenue or delaying implementation of certain spending programs. Eventually, somebody's going to have to pay the piper unless they can fix the overall problem, which is spending. And part of it is tied to spending, which is guaranteed through the actual legislation itself, and taking Joint Budget Committee out of that conversation. And the other part of it, obviously, is this ballooning cost of Medicaid, which the state can no longer absorb, and they're having to adjust to do. So, my business owners are saying they're very concerned about much, much higher rates when they privatize, just because that pool is no longer there, that the private industry is going to have to build a pool, and they're going to pay the price for it.
Okay, that sounds like a lose-lose. On the other hand, no, it sounds like a problem. A tough issue to go to the ballot too. That's a hard one for individuals to understand. So, any other questions on our legislative report? So
I'll just clarify, anything for Ed and Jen, we do have a federal item, but I want to make sure that
anything for Ed and Jen right now?
Good luck. Wear your battle gear.
Can I ask one question?
Please.
One question to Ed and Jen. What probable legislation do you see that's the biggest threat to home rule? Yeah, land use, that's a big part of home rule. Well, just one.
Yep.
What's the big one? Is there a big one, or there's just so many you can't pick one?
Thank you for that question. That could be the case. We will see at least a handful of bills that in one way or the other try to take away local control. Lately it's been which utility is going to get the fast track. But at least of the bills that we know, I would say the biggest threat is the lot splitting bill. This is seen as an extension of the ADU bill that was passed 2 years ago, that allows any property owner to have the right to build an ADU on their property through a different permitting process rather than the normal permitting process through a local government. So this lot splitting bill would essentially be an extension on that. Any property owner can split their lot and allow a new parcel to be built on that property. That does pose issues, of course, with local governments. There's issues with property tax, with property classification, those kind of things. So at least for now, I think that's the one that is causing the most heartburn for some folks.
Okay, thank you. That's a big one. And
You're welcome.
yeah, that utilities will have a lot of trouble with that too. And the utilities were installed for a certain density, and when you double that, potentially that's a problem.
Right. We've seen solar panels, micro trenching, food trucks that all want to, be first in line to get their permits approved. So I don't know what it's going to be this year, but I imagine there'll be something.
Oh, Commissioner Mitchell has a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say, when you guys are dealing with this bill, they need to consider lots that are on septic and well, because that poses a whole nother issue. So hopefully they realize what those issues are, but I just want to put it in the back of your mind. So thank you very much.
Okay, any further questions for our two excellent lobbyists? Okay, a couple things. Thank you, Ed and Jen. We appreciate you being here. Couple things. There's certain issues that we lobby with our lobbyists. And so there are issues related around PPACG. Jared, are you able to list those?
I should be able to. I'll have anybody whisper in my ear if I miss them. Obviously, anything that PPACG, the programs we do, transportation planning and senior services, those are going to be the big two that we focus on. But we also focus on air and water quality, which we also have federal designations on. The water quality side is more on the wastewater side. I always kind of like to clarify because some people think they hear water quality and then they hear water supply, and that's we do not get into that area. We also do anything in support of military installations. I know a couple years ago there were several bills around the interchangeability of licenses. So spouses get licensed in one state, they just get through their license, they get restationed, they come to Colorado. All the work they did on those licenses in whatever other state are no longer valid here, and there was a lot of work done there. That was about 2 or 3 sessions ago. But the biggest change from last year to this year that we incorporated is on that local control issue. And so anything, just because while what I listed off for programs that we do on a day-to-day basis, we have staff who are focused on those areas. We're also a council of governments, and whatever you guys decide is important, we'll jump in there as well. And local control really rose to that top last year. And so we'll be keeping an eye on those kinds of bills. So while, for example, lot splitting and land use are not ones that we typically get super involved in, you know, we work very closely with all your jurisdictions as well to make sure that what we're saying is in support of what you guys are advocating for. Because the worst thing we can do is contradict what you guys are working on at the same time, but can we provide some amplification to that message at the State House? So like I said, local control is really kind of a new area for us to really dive into that we heard really loud and clearly from the legislative committee last year. Anything I missed?
I just think that helps. I think the questions on the land use were really good. I just wanted to make sure that anytime that we feel like we're getting too close to the line and we're asking for our own personal organization, that we pull back a little bit. So I think that they all were topics we were very interested in and would affect actually PPACG as well. So, and the next legislative committee hearing or legislative committee meeting is the first Monday in February.
It is February 2nd. We have all promised to keep the Groundhog Day references to a minimum. But that is the next legislative committee meeting.
Okay.
And I will invite anybody. We have a distribution list. I'm sharing stuff out. If you want to be on that, feel free to let me know. If you can't make the meeting, we'd love to have you at those Monday morning meetings. The more voices, the better. But if you can't, we're still happy to provide the information that we receive from Ed and Jen and our federal updates as well.
And I think our chairs are still Commissioner Stone and Mayor Dixon. Well, thank you again for serving. So we appreciate that. Okay, and then what else do we have?
We have one federal bill for consideration that we discussed at the legislative committee last Monday, and that is HR 6387. It's called the FIRE Act, the long name, the Fire Improvement and Reforming Exceptional Events Act. The lead sponsor on this bill is Congressman Evans from Northern Colorado. And what this bill would essentially do, I'm trying to keep it high level, but this would allow that anything that is a man-made event that is mimicking a natural event, for example, prescribed burns, slash burns, anything like that, that is really a preventative to prevent worse things happening down the road with an actual wildfire, that any emissions that come from that would be considered an exception to the air monitor systems. And so, for example, right now PPACG is in attainment for ozone, and we've been flirting on that line, but we've had some pretty good seasons lately. But if we were to be in that consideration, we could say, hey, listen, there were some prescribed burns, there were some preventative measures that took place. We feel that these should not be included in the measurements and hold us harm as they make that consideration. Staff has been meeting with Congressman Evans' staff as well, just to kind of get an idea of what this bill is. They have asked for our public support of this bill as they, distribute quotes and of endorsement. We will be asking for that as well as in a support position on this bill. This bill moved very quickly through the initial steps. It was introduced on December 3rd. I think it had its first subcommittee hearing on December 2nd, on December 10th. And it made out a subcommittee and it's still waiting the full committee on energy and commerce. But that's kind of where we're sitting at right now. There is no companion bill in the Senate right now. But that's what we've been looking for. We mentioned this at legislative committee and the committee provided a support position on this bill.
Okay, Commissioner Stone.
Yeah, just one question on that bill, and I didn't think of it last Monday. Is agricultural prescribed burns included as part of that as well?
The way it's worded, my assumption would be yes, but we can check on that. And if not, I think the staff would be open to that amendment. The idea being that anything that you are doing to either prevent something bad from happening, or essentially that you're doing for agriculture purposes, where you're regenerating the soil and that kind of thing. My understanding is that those would be included. The idea being that let's not hold regions at risk of being a non-attainment for activities that you would be doing because you need to, either for preventive measure or for business purposes. We'll look into that, but my assumption based on the wording and how they have it worded with the man-made events replicating natural events, the way they have that worded, we can look into that.
We need to ratify that as a support.
We should, yes, that will certainly help.
Yeah, move to ratify the position of support.
In your case, I'll second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to support House Resolution 5387, the Fire Act. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could just mention one more thing. Sorry, you may have been about to mention this as well, but a couple of us, Jared and Chair Williams and myself, we're going to be back in Washington first week in February. There's a National Association of Regional Councils policy conference in DC. So we've got a day on the Hill that we're scheduling outreach meetings as well. So we'll meet with Representative Frank, definitely aiming to get with Representative Evans when we've chatted with him before and with the staff. They've been super responsive around these air quality challenges. He really gets it from his days in the state legislature. Probably Representative Hurd as well, who's on the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. So just wanted to share that out. So more to come. Looking forward to a really good discussion here in a couple of weeks with our key members.
Okay. Right, and let's go on to, okay, that was that one action item. Now we're going to go to Lisa Gagnon for the Federal Transit Administration 5310 approval of recipients and funding allocation. And this was a small font application, I think.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Lisa Gagnon. I am the transit planner here at PPACG. I'm looking to get final approval of the recipients and the allocation amounts. The 5310, the FTA 5310 funding is to enhance mobility for older adults and individuals with disabilities. And for background, these services address gaps in fixed route and paratransit services, so beyond paratransit boundaries, extended hours, and typically door-through-door services. Here at PPACG, we are the designated recipient, and these fundings are just for the Colorado Springs urbanized area. Just for the year 2026, the available funding is just over $703,000, and the public comment period opened and closed on Saturday, and there was no public comments. So the recipients, the subrecipients of this money would be Invita and Silver Key Senior Services, and the Technical Review Subcommittee deemed it was fit to fund them the same amount, so just over $351,000. And if you skip to the next slide, so where we are at now, so again, this is the final approval. We've gone through the TAC and the CAC, and they have moved it to the board, and the public comment period has ended, and there was no public comments. There is representatives from both Invita and Silver Key if you have any questions for them. So final, for my last sentence, I guess, final approval for Invita and Silver Key to fund them for $351,000.
Okay, are there any questions? Go ahead, Mayor Thompson.
Well, my first one is going to be, could you go back to the chart? So thank you. Read my mind on that.
Mhm.
Normally, when we receive a chart, we receive what their requests were and what their suggested allocations were. Do you have that information?
Yes, I actually have this right here, so I do apologize for not including it in the PowerPoint. So Navita requested 460,000 and Silver Key requested 473,000. If we were to fund the full request, there was not enough money, so we did not fulfill their full request.
And we usually receive information on any other, I know it's in our packet, but it's normally on the chart of other providers that were requesting. So what was Nvita's original request?
And Vita's original request was 460,000, and we are funding them 351,000.
Right, and what was Silver Key's original address?
Silver Keys was 473,000.
Okay, and anyone else?
Special Kids, Special Families did request $150,000, and the technical review subcommittee deemed it was they were not eligible for funding, just for lack of there you go, thank you.
Federal accounting expertise.
They just felt they were not quite ready for federal funding. There is lots of work to do with federal funding.
No, I know it's very complicated.
Yes.
I would just like to see the charts in next meeting, next time around, reflect asks, proposed amount and for everybody that applied. I think that's just really important. So.
Yes, thank you. I will do that in the future.
That's a good idea. Okay. Are there any other questions? I'm seeing no questions online, so I guess we can entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Mayor Dixon, second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you very much for your hard work on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so item 6A we have pulled, so we will move on to the informational items. 6B, regional freight transportation plans. I think the whole point is to send it all somewhere else. Come on up, Mr. Liazados.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Board of Directors. Some of you may be aware that January of 2025, we adopted a PPACG regional freight study, which basically looked at the strengths and the weaknesses of the region and what we had, what we didn't have. Building upon that study, we set aside funding and contracted with Cambridge Systematics to do a freight plan for the region. And your meeting today is Richard Driscoll, our consultant with Cambridge Systematics, is going to give you a brief overview of what's been done to date. And again, this is something that you'll see over the next couple of months again, as this is, I think, the first time that they've the plan has actually been to the Board of Directors. One other quick note, again, especially for the new folks, we have told the consultant, no more than 5 slides and 7 minutes. So if you're like, why didn't he go into detail? Because I told him he couldn't. So feel free to ask questions if you do have more, or if it's something that is specific that you really have an interest in. We're happy to set something up down the line, so we're not spending a half hour of everyone's time digging into one particular thing. So with that, I'll hand it over to Richard and Cambridge Systematics.
Yep, thank you. And again, Richard Driscoll with Cambridge Systematics. We're really excited to be kind of continuing this plan. We had supported I don't recall if you had mentioned this, John, but we had supported the regional freight study when it was done in 2024. And so I think this is a really important aspect, is the continuation of this plan into developing some tools and resources that we can reflect on when we're making decisions about what kinds of things are important for freight in the region. So you can go to the next slide. So why is a regional freight plan important? I'll kind of just like read through these bullets briefly, but it's an important part of growth in the regional economy. It's really important element of safety. When we're looking to be competitive for funding opportunities, it's important to have these kinds of things documented within the context of freight. And we want to ultimately create a business-friendly environment, and having that critical data available is going to be an important part of understanding what folks' needs are as far as creating that business-friendly environment is concerned, and what can make for an attractive business environment. You can go to the next slide. So national and global trends in freight. There are some major drivers of some major indicators, I should say, that have changed the way that freight has been prioritized in a relatively recent past. And one of those pieces is the supply chain, the international and national resilience from major events. I think that the COVID era kind of exposed some maybe some critical pathways and some important elements of what our supply chains are. And it also kind of elevated some other elements of this. It's the workforce considerations and the e-commerce elements. We're going to continue to see e-commerce growing. That's not something that we can ignore, certainly. So, developing as part of this an understanding of what the e-commerce kind of looks like and what workforce considerations there should be. Beyond that too, one of the things the state's looking at really closely is the increasing truck weight that's can be straining older infrastructure, as vehicles are able to tow heavier loads. And as we look at maybe even automation in that kind of sphere, there's going to be a move to having infrastructure that can support the movement of freight in the state. And certainly we want to consider that within the region as well. You can go to the next slide. So putting this into the regional context, so now we know why is it important and what are the regional trends that are kind of pushing this along. I think that one of the key indicators of increasing demand is obviously an increasing population. And so as we have more folks that are moving into the region, and the region is growing, a little more naturally as well, we want to be prepared to absorb the changes that we're going to be seeing from the perspective of freight and trucks and rail and things of that nature. There is also things that are going on within the region that are important to document. We want to understand the impacts of various intermodal hubs and things of that nature. And so, this is going to stand as an opportunity to document some of those important things that we know that we want to be seeing in the near future. We want to also be really cognizant of the differences, the different needs of different folks across the region. And so we'll be looking certainly at things within the context of both the rural and urban environments and the different assets, the roadway and transportation assets that are playing a role in freight transportation for those different areas and across all three counties. You can go to the next slide now. So we've, excuse me. What we've done in the plan is we've put together a freight steering committee that's helping to inform where this plan goes and give us an initial regional context. We've also put together a stakeholder group that involves some private sector folks as well as public sector folks to get an understanding of what the needs are. And so what we've done is, based on meetings that we've had with both the steering committee and these stakeholders, have developed some vision and goals for the region as they relate to freight. We brought this now to the TAC and CAC, and so they have seen this information. But what we've highlighted here and what we've decided upon is 4 main goal areas. Those including safety, economic development, resilience, and military. Military being important just because of the nature of military installations in the region, and we wanted to highlight that element. We also wanted to keep these pretty tight, and we wanted to keep them pretty well refined because we feel that there's an opportunity to incorporate things like things like state of good repair and other elements under each of these 4 goal areas. So while these will be a little bit more refined, we can kind of develop some objectives and performance measures that are going to kind of live within these. And now you can go to the next and final slide here. Hopefully I have not gone over my time, but maybe I have. This is a brief timeline. The stars indicate when we believe that we'll be bringing more information to you over the course of the next 6 months. But essentially where we are right now is we have developed that vision and goals. And now what we wanted to do is pull together some performance objectives and performance measures to kind of give us that qualitative and quantitative element of measuring progress over the next however long until we get a new freight plan. From there, we'll build out a prioritization framework and resources, those to kind of just help support identification of freight projects and how projects kind of impact freight. And then finally the documentation and plan approval in the May-June timeframe. So with that, I'll kind of hand it back to John. I don't know if you wanted to make any other comments. We're really excited to be part of this plan. We're helping DRCOG and do their regional freight plan. We help the state do their statewide freight plan. And so I think that we can kind of incorporate some interesting connections between those. So go ahead.
Yep. Thanks, Richard. And again, yes, Cambridge Systematics is doing the statewide freight plan or did, and working with DRCOG on theirs. And meanwhile, another consultant is working with North Range on their freight plan. So we're sort of doing this all at the same time and making sure we're taking a very big picture of how the freight goes in and through the region, and making sure that we have the right facilities to not only, as you saw the goals, move it through safely, but also make sure that it has an economic development component, and that we're hopefully benefiting by it, right? It's one thing to see the truck full of supplies go down I-25 and you wave at it, versus having that truck full of supplies stop somewhere in the region, get offloaded, have a value add, get reloaded, and go someplace else where there's an economic benefit to the region. So with that, happy to answer any questions. And again, thanks to Richard and Cambridge Systematics. They're doing a great job, and I've been very impressed by their foundational work, as well as Tim Roberts with Wilson and Company.
Okay, I just first had a question, then I'll turn to ask Commissioner Mitchell. Does this include Park County as well? So Park, Teller, and El Paso, and is Amazon on the list of one of your consultants? And then we'll turn to ask. So those are my 2 questions.
Okay, well, Richard, you want to go ahead and answer that? I want to make sure that we do so in the with how much we might be doing in those counties.
Yeah. So certainly, yes, Park and Teller County are 100% included in the plan. We had done quite a bit of work in 2024 to include data and statistics, particularly as it relate to like some higher level things like safety and intra-regional travel, not necessarily, or I guess to say intra-regional. So maybe going through the region, like in 285 and US 24. So yes, in short, Teller and Park both will be included. As far as Amazon is, yep.
Go ahead. She had one other question. I want to make sure you answered it.
Oh, Amazon.
Yeah. Yes, and then as far as Amazon is concerned, I believe in the freight study there was an outreach effort specifically made with Amazon. It's as far as continuing that relationship certainly is on the agenda. In part, there's an element of what willingness there will be to provide certain levels of information just from a strategic standpoint for them. So again, in short, yes, we are in communication with Amazon as well.
Okay, Commissioner Mitchell, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Park, there is willingness to give you information, just to let you know. Amy Mitchell, Park County Commissioner. And there is a large gravel transport going on from Fair Play through mainly Coleman trucks. It's an operation by Brannon, but I just want to let you know, I think there's like 50 gravel trucks a day minimum hauling. And so that's something I'd like you to put on your radar because of the impacts to 24 and 285 are pretty horrendous. And anything else we can provide you with our Public Works I can connect you with. And anyone, we've got GIS and some other things that we can use to give you some data. So I just wanted to reach out and let you know we would like to participate on the 2 arteries that go through Park County. Thanks.
Absolutely. I appreciate
Okay.
you pointing that out.
And Commissioner Weissong from El Paso County.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Richard, does this include your unmanned aerial systems or drone delivery as freight?
There's not a deep I'll say it like this, I guess. There's not like a deep dive into that. What we are doing though as part of this is going to be exploring emergent technologies. But perhaps maybe not at a level of depth that is particularly granular, more as like a strategic element of how freight is going to be transported in the near and certainly long term within the region.
But the reason I'm asked is that I believe it's the FAA Part 108, which is no longer requiring line of sight. That now all of a sudden you're going to have air corridors being opened up, and then we've got to figure out, okay, how does that fit in with military flights, civilian flight, whatever. So if they're delivering to the home, I consider that freight. So we've at least let's identify it.
Yeah.
And then figure out where it needs to be with further evaluation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and again, looking at the scope of which we have a contract, we're probably not going to dive too deep into that. But again, I think we can work with Richard to have a mention, and that might be a follow-on effort where we can identify corridors and some other policy sorts of things. But I think at this point, and again, Richard, you correct me if I'm wrong, one of the main issues is things like there's a 10-hour limit for truck drivers and loading and offloading facilities for rail and things like that. So that's the main focus. But I must admit, when you brought that up, it's like, I didn't think of that. I've often thought about seeing if I could shoot down one of those drones and grab a pizza for the night, but not the whole sort of, big picture sort of thing. And I think that's very interesting and would need to be probably its own sort of thing. But that being said, we'll ask Richard to make sure that he addresses it in some way under the recommendations as a follow-on. And that would then give us the opportunity to point to that recommendation within the study to secure funding through another source and maybe do another more drone or aerial freight delivery sort of study/policy document in the future.
Yeah, and that does relate to that e-commerce. I'll kind of just piggyback what you were saying there. I think you nailed it on the head. But it does relate to that e-commerce element as well. It's what the players that we're expecting to kind of start to incorporate or incorporate that element into their logistics strategies are certainly those ones that are kind of dealing in that sphere as well. So yeah, I think that's very poignant.
Any further questions? All right, thank you very much for your report. That was perfect size and time. We appreciate it. Okay, let's go on to item 7A, other reports and minutes. So the Transportation Advisory Committee, the CAC, the Mobility Coordinating Working Group, the RAC, the Commission on Aging, and the Air Quality Technical Working Group. If there were meetings, they are all in our file. Sorry, my agenda stopped there. And thank you. Water Quality Management. And now we're to the CDOT Transportation Monthly Update. Come on up, John. The other John.
Yes. I'm relatively fresh one too. So, thank you very much. Really not a lot changed in terms of projects. I'll still just kind of real quickly brief the slide. Obviously, Powers and Airport Boulevard, Fillmore to Garden of the Gods, reconstructions continue. 2026 completion year for those two. We're looking forward to that. We have 60-70 up there, Woodland Park, shut down right now. I'm going to finish that off here in 2026 as the spring warms up. And then a couple of various traffic type projects, US 24, 31st Street, advanced flashers, Colorado 115, Star Ranch, backplate installations and various signals throughout. So planned future projects of note, of course, we have proposed on the 10-year list, still not approved technically, right? The commission, I think, is going to, Transportation Commission is going to approve in March, it looks like, as I understand it, the new 10-year list. But there should be, once that's done, we got an asset management project there on 24. There's 24 in Academy Park Loop traffic signal installation, traffic 24G Stapleton traffic signal installation as well. Those aren't 10-year projects, excuse me. We've got 83 County Line Road signal replacement coming for traffic, 83 Stagecoach Road roundabout. And wildlife fencing is going to be installed, it looks like, through the Region 1 project, actually, the Greenland Overpass on between basically Monument down Highway 105 down towards Baptist Road. And then the big exciting project coming up here is going to be Garrett and Woodman widening. I think we can actually use that term. That's technically part of the 10-year definition. But of course, that's going to be about an $85 million project. We're still on track to advertise that here in October, November timeframe. We got Judge Orr intersection reconstruction as well in Green Mountain Falls. Some minor improvements there too.
Okay, any questions on this?
Yes, right on there.
Any questions on this list? Okay, let's go to Central Front Range.
Just some highlights on Central Front Range, of course. Really just wrapping up the resurfacing west of Florissant. We got Fremont County 50A culvert lining. So we got some culvert linings down there around, basically right in the Canyon City area. Sign replacements in various highways, especially 924, 285. Future projects of note, here in 2026, we're going to be resurfacing from Texas Creek south there, but the Fremont County section of Highway 69. We have probably the most exciting one for this room here. It is technically outside the PPACG boundary, but resurfacing and a passing lane down there, Peyton through Calhan, passing lane just east of Calhan. And we got some concrete pavement repairs scheduled for 115 in Penrose. That one is advertising tomorrow, so let's hope we get good bids on it. The other two are awarded.
Okay, any questions on this list? Go ahead, Mayor Thompson.
Our little bridge in Fountain,
Yeah.
the one that's sinking. Could they come out and look at it again, because the dip where they filled in the stuff between the south end of the bridge is really getting to be quite a dip again, and just maybe need some more refill put in there.
We will make sure to pass that along, have our maintenance guys take a look at them.
Yeah.
Guys, yep, they're out there regular, so, yep.
The bridge is settling, yeah, but in the meantime, they're patching it and patching it.
Yeah, we don't think the bridge is settling, but certainly the abutments and the approaches are having some settling issues. And of course, we do have a bridge and tunnel enterprise project to replace that in the long term. Now we're talking about 2029-ish or so, but we are trying to get a grant. We are going to be applying for a bridge improvement program grant for that. So in the next year.
Just right now you hit that one.
Yeah.
A little bit further on, you hit the next one.
You don't want us to just let it sit until we replace it?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense, man. I appreciate it.
It's sounding like a very bad roller coaster road. What's that?
We have one of those.
Coaster road.
Those two, but unfortunately, we're responsible for them.
Okay,
Of course, we have an actual roller coaster road up in my neck of the woods.
I know that one's hard not to speed on when you have kids and put your hands up. So,
Thank you.
all right.
Commissioner, we do have a hand raised from Commissioner.
Oh, Commissioner Mitchell, go ahead.
Thank you. It's my day to speak up here. Thank you, Madam Chair. Could you kindly speak to what signs are being replaced on 924 and 285? And we would love to have you guys come up and talk to us about wildlife crossings in Park County. 285 and 24 are really death traps for our wildlife. Thank you.
I am not prepared to give any sort of even close to itemization on the signs that are getting replaced. I can certainly try to pass you on to our traffic folks who can give you a little more detail. These are just our typical projects going out and just refreshing the sign panels in particular, to make sure the reflectivity and stuff like that is appropriate. So it's not there's not some new set of signs or in particular out there that is going on. And then in terms of wildlife crossings, I think that's something that I would encourage, in particular, Central Front Range to take I think that we just had that meeting on Monday with Central Front Range, but I really would encourage that be the great venue to start to have those conversations or to enhance them.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and here would be the question: when the Greenland Bridge is complete, could you take out about the 5 wildlife undercrossings and move them up to Central Front Range? Because I was counting, there's like about 3 coming up to it and 2 going after it that are tunnels that you could remove all the railroad ties, because all the deer are going to go over the bridge.
Well,
I'm just teasing.
yeah, good. I'm glad, because I'm not sure I could just hoist them onto a low boy or something and carry it. Received a very large grant as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, that's it. So our next report is the Statewide Transportation Advisory Committee. Don's going to report. I wasn't able to attend that one, and actually I'm going to have a rough time attending the next one too. So, but we'll figure that out. Maybe I can change my plane flight.
Well, first thing is you didn't miss anything. And if you do miss the next one, if Councilmember Donaldson's not available, I will happily step up and take care of it. And again, it was rather a tame stack meeting. There was an update on the 10-year plan for regions 3 and 5. As a quick aside, I think regions 1, 2, and 4 are going to the commission now. So we'll probably have more to say because we're in region 2 next month. There was a vote on having STAC send a letter to the JBC on MMOF funding, stressing how important MMOF funding is, especially since we make plans for it, and then for the legislature to sort of take it away at the end. So that did pass, and the letter was sent, or I assume the letter will be sent. There was a quick item on the MMOF deadlines, and again, remember there's 2 MMOFs. Again, I'm not sure why the state of Colorado has decided to take 2 funding sources and name them exactly the same thing, but they are different. There is the creature of the legislature, the multimodal options fund, which was a creature of the legislature, I believe, in like the year 2020. because it's a creature, that's a lot of the money that got clawed back last year when the budget was happening. Then the multimodal mitigations option fund, also MMOF, but completely different, which is an enterprise, is a different one. And then again, that's very different as far as having the state legislature be able to get their claws into it. But the bottom line is, when they took some of that original MMOF money, they replaced it with other federal dollars, and there's a very hard deadline as to when those can be spent. And so they had a discussion about, hey, there's no extension, there's nothing else. You have to have the money spent by, I believe, December 11th of 2026 kind of thing. And I think here in our region, it's just MMT, Colorado Springs, and El Paso County that have to worry about the deadline. And if you're in one of those three jurisdictions, you have excellent people who are already on top of it. So, but that was an item. They gave an update on the live cameras throughout the state. The state of Colorado has cameras, and they used to have a contract with the private sector to install and maintain those cameras. Over time, that contractor has not been able to, if I remember the presentation correctly, sort of keep up. So CDOT is now moving over and taking those cameras back in-house and installing the cameras and maintaining them over time. So you'll see that. And then the final presentation was on the truck chain-up stations. And again, where they can put them and how they can put them and what the need is. And again, based on the laws in the state of Colorado requiring commercial vehicles of a certain size and weight having chains. So they talked about that, but they did also talk about, which I think was interesting, of how they're putting in a communication network to make sure that drivers in other states know what's going on before they get here, so they can plan accordingly. And that, Madam Chair, is the staff report.
Okay, thank you. So I have heard really good praise about the Vail top of the mountain rest stop. So just so you know, we usually stop in Silverthorne, but if you ever want to see the pretty rest stop with 360-degree views, you're supposed to stop there. Any questions? Councilman McDonald.
One question, it's a general question, might not be exactly for you, John, but is there a renewed emphasis in the state, or just a desire to improve the rest stops along the highway, especially along the highways? That one between here and Pueblo comes to mind.
Yeah, I don't believe that was on the last stack meeting, but I think it was the month before, or 2 months before. They did talk about the rest area. Actually, it wouldn't be last month because they canceled a stack in December. So I think in late they sort of talked about it. But again, there's, they always sort of show that the money is the issue, and that. But I do remember, I thought they were going to do something in Pueblo. John, do you happen to know offhand, since it's in Region 2? Or so that's a long way of saying, I really don't know, but I think there's a desire to do it if money holds true. Come on up. It's the John and John show. It's like a radio station or a morning drive team.
This is what I'm gonna have to take back and follow up again as well. It's my understanding, though, that essentially the existing structures, buildings are not going to be refurbished. And there was some funding. It's South program, so it's not North program. It's not under my purview. But there is funding. I think it's about $10 million the commission approved, and it's meant right now, as I understand it, it's going to exit 108 and a complex parking, different things like that, that's going to be put in that area, just to the south of those existing facilities.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
If Mayor LaKind, we could convince, and Mayor Thompson, we could convince the Buckies to go down there. Then we would have a rest stop.
I was going to suggest that I was going to suggest with the fencing that they're putting in for wildlife, they make it beaver proof
Oh, definitely.
and they run it all the way to wherever they would like the beaver to show its head. So if it's in the southern part, Pueblo, between Pueblo and Fountain, whatever,
Mhm.
just
Or maybe we should
we
call
got
it,
beavers
instead of
in
Groundhog Day, Beaver Day. And we can only make these jokes
Bring your
because,
water. Come on.
because Mayor Stern's not here today. Nah.
Bring your water and come on down. There's no water at the truck stop.
Oh, that would make it hard. Okay. That's it for the Statewide Transportation Advisory Committee. We talked about the Front Range Passenger Rail this morning, but I suspect the update would be that really they want to create the district kind of so they can build the line to Boulder first, which is the line that people have already been paying for up there. Weird thing. And so our next update, committee and commission vacancies. There's always a chart in the agenda that shows who might have a vacancy. And we love to fill those committees. They are very valuable to give us information. And then we'll move on to our executive director's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just real briefly, 2 items. We will update our board handbook and get that around to everybody now that we've got the board officers set for 2026 and committee assignments and things like that. We'll get this cleaned up, updated, and blasted out to everybody. So you've got the bylaws, updated bylaws, meeting procedures, meeting rosters, and all that kind of stuff. So just hopefully we'll get this out by the end of this month is what we'll aim for. The only other thing I was going to mention is we got a briefing last year, 1 or 2, I think, from the folks that are coordinating the America 250, Colorado 150 events here in 2026 with our sesquicentennial as a state and America's 250th anniversary, all occurring in 2026. We've got a lot of events that are planned throughout the year. So I may try to get the woman that's coordinating that to come to a PPACG meeting again and just kind of brief on what's going on throughout the balance of the year. We did find out that they're supporting some events this coming weekend in concert with Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday and holiday this coming Monday. Found out that MLK's 17-year-old granddaughter is going to be speaking at the breakfast gathering this coming Monday at the Antlers. And we can send out the information on how to sign up for that if you're interested. She's also going to be speaking as part of a young person's fireside chat on Sunday at Colorado College. So great speaker coming to town. So if folks want to attend, we'll get the information out there and you can sign up for it. But some really good events coming up for this weekend. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go online first, if that's okay, for member entity announcements. Commissioner Mitchell, do you have anything going up on in Park County?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do not. We do have our intergovernmental meeting January, and let me pull up my calendar really quick. I'm sorry to take this time. End of this month. I don't know. I think it's Thursday. I don't have it in my calendar even. Shame on me. But we will make sure we send out the invitation again. And other than that, we are just praying for snow. So thank you very much, and everybody have a great day.
Okay. And Councilmember Williams, are you still online there?
I am. Good morning.
Okay.
I think the biggest news to report is we made it through December and the new year, and we are just on to a fabulous 2026. The calendar is pretty quiet compared to the last 6-8 weeks. I think Jared and team are going to have most of the news and information for us in the next couple coming months. We did have the governor come down to award the $2.5 million to the Ring the Peak planning and implementation and all things outdoors that goes with that. That's very exciting for this entire region, and we just look forward to more wins like that in the future. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to skip to Mayor Pro Tem Shaw out in Rama. Any special events? He's still there. I think Commissioner
Yeah,
Applegate.
I'm still here.
Okay, go ahead. Any
No, we
special
don't have-
events?
No, ma'am, we don't have anything really kicking off right yet. We're still trying to coordinate some things that we'd like to get going for the summer, but until we have anything definite, I really don't want to speak on it, but thank you for asking.
Okay, and Commissioner Applegate is available. Go ahead.
Yeah, just for a quick minute, I stepped out of the room for my airport commission meeting. First of all, I'd like to thank the board for the confidence they put in me for doing the front range passenger rail for that committee. And I look forward to getting back to you guys kind of on a monthly basis and letting you all know what's going on, what they're planning. Happy New Year, everyone. And yeah, 250, 150. And I'm on that committee for the county for our celebrations that we're going to be doing for, it's a big thing. I mean, we as a nation, we make 250 look good, and Colorado is 150 right after that. So it's going to be a fun summer, I think. So enjoy it. So let me know if there's any events you'd like to see.
Okay, thank you. Now we will go to Mayor Case.
Good morning. I just thought I'd share that we are continuing to work on analysis and cleaning and planning and all of that associated with the city's purchase of the Shining Mountain Golf Course. And so stay tuned. There's going to be some great things coming out of that to include open space programming, event center upgrading, and scheduling. We're having to still hand water greens because we need more snow, although we had 12 inches this last snowstorm. So just continuing to evaluate and work through all the challenges out there to create a great new amenity for our area. I think that's all I have. Eric might remind me of something. Thank you.
Councilmember Donaldson.
Yeah, thanks, Madam President. Just a couple things to add to what Brandy had mentioned about PPORA receiving the 2.5 million. Next month, Saturday, February 7th, the Winter Olympic Games kick off, and there's a celebration of that at the Olympic Museum from 10 to 3. There's from 10 to 3 p.m. There is free admission all day at the museum, and there's activities, and there'll be Olympians there, things like that. Something you may have noticed in the news just, I think it was 2 days ago, the CEO of Colorado Springs Utilities, Travis Deal, with some of our state legislators, many of you know them, and we're aware of this, held a press conference. We're trying to get a bill through the legislature to allow us to keep Ray Nixon Power Plant open beyond when it is now scheduled to be closed, which is 29. And that's 200 megawatts of power, which comes from that power plant. It's coal. So it's some of the lowest lowest electricity we can produce. And it will be a big win for ratepayers and businesses here locally if we can keep that open. So we're trying to work to make that happen. And then also just a little bit more on the utilities. There was that announcement by the PUC, I can't remember, it was a month ago or so, that gas appliances wouldn't be permitted in the future. That does not apply. That applies to privately owned utilities or investor-owned utilities. Doesn't apply to Colorado Springs Utilities because our board of directors is elected as city council. So that's one of the benefits of that. We're insulated from some of those rulings from the PUC. So for citizens here that get their energy from Colorado Springs Utilities, you can still use gas appliances, buy gas appliances. We're not going to go out of business on that. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Mayor Johnson.
Sure. I don't have much for this month, but Valentine's Day in Manitou will be Carnival. So we'll actually have our Carnival parade. So if you're interested in gumbo and puppets, I invite you to join us at 1 o'clock. A little color and fun in the middle of February. So that's about it.
Mayor Dixon.
And I don't have anything to report.
Hey, Mayor Thompson.
Yeah, so in fact, not only is it 250, 150, it's 250, 150, 50. It's our 50th anniversary as a home rule municipality.
Awesome.
1976, our citizens decided to take over and run it themselves. So we're adding that little blurb on ours, 251, 50, 50. And we got to approve a new fountain that will be dedicated as part of that this year. It's going to be an art piece also, not just a fountain. So look for that to open sometime this next year. We're all excited about it. The citizens got to vote on which design they wanted, and we'll be including that 50-year plaque in there too. So thank you.
Which one did they pick?
Well, okay, we had to have a new vote at the council meeting. So overwhelmingly, Fountain B won. But when we looked at we had marble donated many, many years ago that's just been sitting next to a building that came from Marble, Colorado, and one piece is from the Lincoln Memorial, and one piece is from the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So we're including those. The B, which overwhelmingly won, changed the shape of those pieces of marble. So we took the base from B, which has got like a bench around it. And then we took the marble shapes from A so that we didn't reform those marble pieces too much so we could keep doing. You can actually see the curving from where the pillar was made for the Lincoln Memorial. So we're going to do that. So we let the citizens who were there, all 5 or 7 of them or something, vote for A, B, or added of C. So we took a on-the-fly vote, and our city clerk took charge of making sure it was a fairly run election and the count was legitimate. So yes.
Okay, Mayor LeKind.
Not much going on other than you may have noticed that we have dinosaurs growing along the west side of I-25. They have been sprung from their shipping containers since old hatched. I guess they're not live births, but it is for a project that is going to build a family fun center, which will contain 48 holes of miniature golf, I believe a tiki bar for the adults to entertain themselves at while their children are out playing golf. And phase 2 will be some type of water themed park with a lazy river. And I'm trying to see if we can convince them to make it a luge course for the adults in the wintertime, since how often are you going to get into the water to float around up there in Monument, right? So that's all that's going on up there. I'm not wrong town.
You can do water aerobics in a lazy river too.
Depending on how fast the current is.
Yeah. Maybe you can do really fast ones.
Right, there you go.
Okay, Commissioner Weishaupt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Something to tie into the event yesterday when Nevertheless brought down or helped present the $2.5 million check over a 3-year period. On Friday, CCI helped hold a Zoom call talking about the Rocky Mountain pine beetle, which is of the concern of Governor Polis, where he's got some activity. Biggest question or concern that I have, if you look at some of the maps that they, the state forester and Dr. West showed, we could be in a big world of hurt. And we could put a lot of money into setting up outdoor, let's recreate, but it will be recreating in a forest of dead beetle killed trees if we don't really focus on what the state forester is talking about. There were some issues or concerns about, well, it's just a natural cycle. We had it in a peak of, I think it was 06, lodgepole pine. However, as you know, we don't have a natural cycle anymore because we stopped wildfires. So it was very good to hear, and we're working on trying to take the prescribed burns out of the air quality index. But there is a lot of work to do that's needed And so just wanted to kind of put that on everyone's radar because it's going to be a huge cost. And it's just going to be one of those things that we've got to watch. And some of you, and I hope everyone within the PPACG has received a copy or the invite, but the Fountain Creek Watershed District on Monday, the 26th, is going to be hosting the Watershed Summit from 11 to 5:30 p.m. at the Pinery at the Hill. It's really a recap of, what has happened, not only just last year, but basically from the inception. So it's just, I think it's going to be a fun, very educational event. That's it.
Okay, Councilmember G.R. Gatlin. I found my note. Took me a
Well,
while.
Jeff didn't tell me I had to come prepared for anything.
Well, Jeff can say something if he wants.
I got you. However, we are excited about the ice castles opening up this weekend. And it's a very spectacular event. They've improved the entertainment value from last year. So I highly recommend we all participate in that event. Also, we just became officially a Main Street city. I think we were approved, yesterday? Yesterday. Yeah, so that's a very good thing happening for us. The ice sculptures are coming in February, so please try to attend. Thank you.
Yeah, Ice Fest starts February 14th. So as you're going through from Manitou, stop in Manitou, then come on up. And Ice Fest will be going the 14th to the 28th in Cripple Creek, along with Ice Castle. So those are our activities here this winter.
Okay, so which town has the troll?
It's between.
It's between. I was going to ask Commissioner Stone about that because I never knew Breckenridge has a troll as well.
Yes.
Oh,
Breckenridge had the first troll.
is one of them a male troll and another a female troll?
It is a female troll.
Okay, Rita, and I don't, so.
There's going to be a third troll. There's going to be a third troll in Palmer Lake. They're putting it together now. Jody Bliss from Bliss Studios has been commissioned to fabricate said troll, and it is going underneath their bridge, their walking bridge that you got that was approved.
Oh, fun. So we're becoming very trollish here. Okay, Commissioner Stone.
So Eric, before you start, may I just say one thing in response? On what you just said, sir, is Woodland Park also received their Main Street designation with the same press release. So congratulations to you as well.
They've hit all the big events, but the good news about all of that is that, there's more to do in Teller County in the wintertime than just drive to ski areas and go gamble in the casinos. Although those are things you can certainly continue to do, but there's other wonderful events going on. My favorite is the ice sculpture event. That's tremendous. It's a lot of fun. I know the restaurants up there really benefit greatly from those. So if you're going up, plan to have a meal while you're there and any other activities. But outside of that, I mean, we have a lot of big projects for the county in 2026 that have already started, but hopefully will be completed. Our Central Service Center, which we've talked about, is going in and divide. It's going to take a series of offices that are spread across the county in rented spaces and consolidate them all in the center of the county, just kind of behind the post office and the sheriff's office there at the juncture of 24 and 67. So our employees are really anxious for that to come about because their homes haven't been the best possible homes, and now we're trying to improve that. But then also the convenience for our residents to be able to one-stop shop the county, kind of similarly to what El Paso County did over on Garden of the Gods, bring a lot of those offices together so that people can have one central place to go and get those services is going to be a big benefit. And we'll save $10 million or so over the next decade on rent that we won't have to pay anymore. So we're looking forward to that. And our wastewater treatment plant is going to break ground this year, which will be the first, as well as the first subdivision in Divide, or first new subdivision in Divide in decades. As part of that, we'll break ground, assuming it gets approved, yet to be determined. But I have a good feeling about it. But outside of that, it's just wintertime in the mountains, and we need more snow. I agree with Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes, I would say we need more snow. I also wanted to state Commissioner Weissong is going to be one of the featured speakers at the Tri-Lake State of the Region. And Commissioner LeKind, or not. Oh, I just promoted you. Weissong has to split his salary with you. Mayor LeKind. So I'm really excited to attend that. They said you're term limited. We're no longer interested in hearing from you. Oh, it was said kinder than that, but it was funny. We laughed over it. I'm really excited for Commissioner Weissong. And that is actually, I think, the day after the Chamber's State of the Region here in the city of Colorado Springs. And I don't have any other news. Go ahead.
Could I have an alibi? Thank you, Madam President. One thing I forgot to add in there, and I think it'd be interest to everybody here, is that the city is also trying to advance legislation up in Denver as far as shoplifting goes, to increase the penalties for shoplifting, because I know that impacts a lot of business owners and small shop owners. And also, just to put that 200 megawatts, I mentioned that about Ray Nixon power plant, but that's 20% of the energy that is consumed on the highest use days. It's about 1,000 megawatts on the worst, hottest summer days. So that's a lot. That's a lot of energy, 200 megawatts, and it is 24/7. That's our base load power. We have a big pile of coal sitting there. We have months of energy sitting right at the plant. Runs whether the sun is out or not. At nighttime, it's producing energy. When there's no wind, it's producing energy. So if you talk with state legislators or others up there, we would appreciate it if you put in a word of encouragement to keep that thing open. It's also really a national security issue with as many defense bases and posts that we have here. We provide their energy. So when it becomes unreliable, when CSU is having to buy energy or use unreliable energy, it affects those bases and posts. Thanks.
And that is why city council and mayor should be paid, because look at how smart y'all are. So I'm always pushing for that, but you do provide out to Schriever, correct?
I believe so.
Because when Excel came through, I asked Excel if they were planning on running a second line to Schriever, and they had not contacted Schriever. So that was perhaps a failure on their part. So because we need to make sure that we keep Schriever up and running. Go ahead, Mayor Thompson.
Councilman Donaldson, I might suggest that you can reach out to your some constituent other cities in the area, and you might find that you have a common interest in and work together on that.
I will. I'll make that happen. It's that's a good idea. We'll make that happen.
Okay. Let's see. That was member entity announcements. Our upcoming meeting schedule. We said our next legislative committee is the first Monday, is Groundhog Day. It's at 8:30 a.m. on Teams or in this building. Very good update of the state legislature. And then we have our next board workshop and PPACG meeting next month. Any other business? Okay, if there's no other business, we are adjourned. Thank you.